Welcome back to Lydia's Kitchen. Today I have some chicken thighs. We're gonna make a few things, but we're gonna start with this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stuff these with zucchini. Oh, I also have one more ingredient I need to get out of the fridge. Good thing I remembered this. This is a very important part. So this is Swiss cheese from Trader Joe. But you can use really any cheese. The Swiss cheese is really good in here because it gives it like a little bit more of a bite. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the mixture ready, but we are gonna stuff it under the skin. So this kind of chicken dinner, you would have the skin on it. You wanna keep that. And you can also use chicken breasts. Again, I have thighs and the bone is in. So this takes about an hour to bake. So I'm gonna go ahead and shred some zucchini. I got this zucchini this morning, just picked from my friend Linda's garden. She has a huge, beautiful garden, which I thought one day we could go over there and film. It's a really nice garden. And I gotta show you this zucchini. Hello. So what I'm probably gonna do with this one is shred it, put it in 2-cup bags and freeze it so that I have it for zucchini bread or whatever else I wanna use. So I'm gonna go ahead and shred this. So again, I'm not really gonna measure this. I usually do about a cup, but I'm not gonna measure it. I'm just gonna go ahead and shred it a little bit here. My friend Linda this morning told me that she would be bringing some of her wonderful produce over to our free meals on Wednesday night. To share with people. So that's really awesome. She's going to be doing that. So I have this. I'm also going to shred up my cheese in here. Also, I've mentioned this before, you can go ahead and buy shredded. Pre-shredded is fine. There's nothing really wrong with it. I just personally like to use the chunk because then it doesn't have the cornstarch in it. So I'm going to shred it. It doesn't take that long. The other thing I've done before in the past to shred it is put it in my food processor, which you could absolutely do with this. Shred it all in there together, and then you'd have a bowl you can use. But I typically like to use glass bowls when I'm making something. So I feel like that's pretty good. Also, this morning from my garden, I went out and got some of my herbs. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some thyme in. I washed them this morning. Got them.
Strip the thyme.
And then to strip it, you're just pulling it down.
Backwards.
Backwards, yes. And you don't want the stem, obviously, it's really hard. So like Rachel Ray, she has a little garbage bowl. I'm gonna have this little garbage bag. So get some more thyme in there. And again, how much to put in? Maybe 4 or 5 strips of these. The other thing is I'm using thyme, but you don't have to. Rosemary would be really good in here with chicken. I do have rosemary, but today it smells so good. I thought it'd be fun to use the thyme. I haven't used much of it. I use the rosemary when I make my sourdough, so I have it for that. But today is some thyme. So I'm gonna go ahead and chop up some of this. Now, I was gonna tell you about these stems. You don't wanna use these stems. This is parsley from my garden. But again, you don't wanna use the stems, so you would just break them off easily, like that. If you wanted to use cilantro, those stems you can actually use because they're much softer. So something to just kind of keep in mind when you're using herbs. Mostly you want to take the stems off, but cilantro actually is pretty tender to start. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut some of this up like this. Today I'm lucky enough in my little audience of 3 here. I have my wonderful neighbor Kelly. She lives here part-time. She just moved in like 3 months, 5 months?
6 months ago. Hi, everyone.
She lives in Texas. So she goes to Texas in the winter and she's here in the summer, so we're really glad to have her. Plus, she's invited us to Texas sometime, so someday maybe we'll take her up on that.
Great.
Yeah, that would be nice. I've been to Texas, but I haven't spent a whole lot of time there. So anyway, so here's our little mixture. And we have our zucchini, and we have our, thank you, and we have our herbs in here, and we're gonna go ahead and add some panko. Again, this is something that you can buy gluten-free. So this one is not. I also like this a lot better than the last time I used panko. The last time I used panko, I got the panko from Myers, and it's a little bit chunkier. This one is much finer, and I love it. Not that I couldn't make the other one finer by grinding it. I just really like this one a lot. So where is it from? Trader Joe's. So there's that, and I add that, and then I already this morning put together, this is dehydrated onion, salt, and a little bit of garlic powder. My husband doesn't think he likes garlic, so I use it, but I tend to not use too much of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that. And I'm gonna add some pepper. And to get it all stuck together, I'm gonna start out with 2 eggs. These eggs are from my daughter. She has 16 chickens, so I'm lucky enough to get farm fresh eggs, which is wonderful, of course. And we'll see if 2 eggs does it. I'm not sure it will. Smell any herbs, you guys? Nice. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my hands here. So let's see if this does it. You can pretty much tell when you get it together here to see. I think this is going to be okay.
What consistency are you looking for?
So the consistency I'm looking for is so that it just all of the ingredients just kind of stick together. If I put more panko in, it would make it dry. So I don't want to over put panko in. But if it was like totally soupy right now, I would definitely add some panko. But you know what? It seems pretty perfect, which is always nice when you first make something. And then now you can't really taste this, so it might be best to, add your ingredients before, like if you want to taste it, you would want to taste it before the eggs. So you could do that. The other thing I was thinking about that you could add to this is red pepper flakes. My husband and I don't care for those, so we don't add them, but you absolutely could add them. So that's something. And then again, you can use chicken breasts or thighs. I actually bought legs too, but I don't have them out right now, but you could probably use the leg too. So what I'm gonna do is preheat the oven. And I'm preheating it to 375. And you're gonna bake this for about an hour. So this is the way I do it. I just take my pan. You know what? I'm actually gonna add a little bit more zucchini to this because I had so much. So why not? Add a little bit more. I will be making zucchini bread with the zucchini too. It looks so good. And it's so fresh. It's so wonderful to be able to use the fresh ingredients. I also went to another neighbor. I'm gonna maybe make salsa later, and I'm like, do you have a jalapeno? And he did. So I was able to get a jalapeno today, zucchini. Actually, my neighbor gave me this wonderful onion too. This is from their garden, believe it or not. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? And what else? Oh, she gave me cauliflower. Some of that. So I'm very lucky, and we're so lucky in this neighborhood. Everybody seems to get along well and likes each other. So now here's the tricky part. You're gonna find where to open it so that you can get it under the skin. How come the other one I did was so easy? Why can't I open this? Oh, here we go. So here it is. And then I'm gonna use my hands. I've washed them. I'm just gonna simply stuff it in there and have it bake with it. Again, about an hour. I checked it after 40 minutes before when I made this, and it was not done. One way to tell when it's done, which is wonderfully helpful, is this bone right here. It will, for lack of a better way to put it, it kind of bleeds and you know that you're not ready for it to be done. So when this was completely brown, it was all the way done. So that's how I told. And I did let this rest a little bit before serving, so you'll want to do that too. It's also, you don't feel like you have to take this stuffing out. Like I know when you're making a turkey, they're like, take the stuffing out right away. It's not necessary with this. It's fine to keep it right there. And it's such a great dish for when you have company over because it's pretty. And I'll show you what I'm going to do to make it a little bit browner as it cooks. And you'll have such a nice meal for somebody who comes for dinner or not. Also, you can, I've just, when I served this before, I air fried small potatoes. All I did was put them in there raw, air fried it, and then when they came out, I tossed them in olive oil and salt and pepper. Washing hands. So simple. Can walk away, check it at 40 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. And then, where's my towel? There it is. So, paper towel, okay. Oh, actually, I was getting paper towel, and I'll tell you why. I want to dry this off. So I'm going to pat it dry. Looks like that. It's pretty. It comes through, the green comes through, and the yellow of the cheese. Again, you could add other spices. Turmeric would be really nice in here too. Oh, sorry. Thank you. So you go ahead and pat it dry like this, and then I have some sesame seed oil. Of course, you can use any oil, but this gives it a nice flavor. So, anybody want to smell it? Would you like to smell it too?
It smells great.
It smells so good. So anyway, where's this from? You know. I'm not even going to say it. So put a little bit of that on top. And then I'm going to take my paper towel and just kind of rub it in a little bit. And then a little bit of pepper, which I don't really like. But everybody loves pepper, so I always try to put it on when I'm serving it for someone else. And then a little bit of salt. And that is it. And then that will go in the oven. So, come back and we will make another wonderful dish. When you come back, we'll be making homemade pasta sauce. See you in a minute.
There's a blood shortage and we came up to Dead Lover's Point at midnight on Friday the 13th.
Lame.
Guess I'm gonna waste all this blood by dying in a predictable horror movie way.
50% of Americans like watching blood get spilled in horror movies, but only 3% donate it. When was the last time you donated blood?
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those barbecues you plan in detail for your family? Or your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
There is a road laid out for me, leading down to
boxes everywhere. And this is gonna be Addie's room.
I am blind, but I need not see.
I think you're really gonna like it.
I know this road is there for me. There is a love waiting for me.
First night here, but Amy seems cool.
Waist down by the river. I know this love is there for me.
Nice and slow.
If
I got
I'm
this.
free, take me down to the river
Nice.
and wash me.
Okay. What do you think?
Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm gonna go ahead and take out one of the chicken thighs and show you what that looks like. They're all done. It smells great in here. I'm gonna go ahead and do that with my oven mitt, of course. And here's what it looks like. And it's so pretty because the green comes through, yellow.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. So now what we're going to do is make some pasta sauce. So I have roasted tomatoes from my garden. Great way to get those tomatoes used. I know lots of times when people have gardens, tomatoes plants, they have so many tomatoes, which of course it's always fun to share, which I'm doing as well. But today I decided I would roast some. So what I did was I looked at a couple recipes and decided what I like to put in my sauce. So these have some olive oil on them, salt and pepper, and then I also use something else, which is this glaze. It's actually balsamic vinegar that's been heated up and it becomes thick. As you can see how it coats this. Very thick, and it's amazing stuff. So this is, you can eat this raw too with your, if you do a caprese salad. Such great stuff, and this is a great product. Actually, what I meant is the maker. Cento is, I use them a lot. So today what I'm gonna do is put these in my pot. No, first I'm gonna cut up my onion.
Bring the pot over to the camera.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave it here because I'm gonna turn this pot on. I want my pot to get hot. And I'm gonna use a neutral oil, not olive oil right now, because there's olive oil already on that. Plus this can be at a higher temperature. So I'm gonna go ahead and use some grapeseed oil, which I really like the grapeseed oil a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and heat up that. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna cut up my onion. And this is the onion that my neighbor gave me this morning, my neighbor and friend Linda Moran. She's somebody who manages the Pollyant Trail. She has been amazing for our community. She really has. She does so much. She's doing a walk on the 27th to raise money for the Pollyant Trail and the Women's Club. They do it together, the Oxford Women's Club. So she's the person who gave me this onion, and she has an amazing garden, just everything you can think of in it. Her husband and her do it together. They canned about, I think there were 80 cans of potatoes. They decided to can them. And they installed a little sink in their backyard, so it's really cool. They can just rinse off anything they want to rinse off. So that's kind of neat. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw these in my pan. Again, it's heating up. These are the herbs that I used in the chicken. I'm gonna go ahead and use these herbs in my sauce too. When I make pasta sauce, I kind of just wing it with what I have and what I know we like. Just like anything you're making should be what you like. Hear the sizzle. That means it's ready. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and take off some of this thyme. Make sure you take the stems out. Again, those are hard. So I'm gonna listen to my sizzle because I don't want them to burn, but I definitely want them to cook down. So putting in some thyme, and again, this is my parsley. One thing I don't worry about is getting everything in a consistency of chopped up too much, because I have something called an immersion blender that I absolutely love this thing. So this is my immersion blender where you can just put it in and it chops everything up. You can see the blade on the bottom. That's what I do once everything's all incorporated. So again, you want to get your stems out of this. Rough chop, stems out. Looks pretty good. You can smell it. It smells so good in here. And you know, I've made sauce in the winter. I'll pull out tomatoes from the freezer that I froze from my garden. And you know, you can still buy your fresh herbs in the grocery store. So I use those too, of course. All right, I think I'm good. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in. Looking good here. Give it a stir. Onions cooking is always the best smell. I'm gonna actually wait with the herbs a little bit because I really don't want to cook them too much. So I'm gonna turn this down a little bit and I'm gonna add some pepper. I'm gonna add salt, which helps caramelize. And then I'm going to add some of this wine. So this is a red wine, which I love to add to sauce. What it does is, it's about I add like half a cup, quarter to a half a cup. What it does is you can taste the flavor of the wine, but the alcohol will burn off. So that's why you want to add it right at this point when you're cooking the onions. Okay, so I'm actually going to do an experiment today. Typically, I steam my potatoes, take the skins off. Did I say potatoes? Tomatoes. But today, I am not taking off the skin, and we're going to see how it goes. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. And I'm going to add them to my pot. Actually, I'm going to do it this way. So I do, again, I have olive oil. Did I say I put sugar on these? Because I did. I put a little bit of monk fruit sugar. So that's why I am not going to add sauce, or I'm not going to add sugar right at this moment, because I want to see how it goes. And with your sauce, the one thing about making sauce, you can always taste it as you go. So I'm going to bring it over here so you can see it, Kyle. Just to see what stage we're at. So this is what we're looking like. Now we got purple onions. So that's what it looks like. You want to keep it at like a medium temperature. And I know it looks kind of like who would eat this sauce at this point. I know my husband would say, no thank you. But what we're going to do is add a few things. So, and then when I use that immersion blender, it makes everything perfect. Plus you're getting so many good vegetables and fruit. Oregano. Whew, very strong. This is dry. I didn't grow any this year. Sometimes I do. And now at this point, what I would do is just pretty much let this simmer. And it takes about,
What about the garlic?
The garlic. Look, I have it right here. Yes, we want the garlic. And you know what? Because I did that, I didn't roast it at all. I'm going to roast it in this pan. Let me quickly wash this off a little bit. Maybe. Okay, I'm going to just heat up the garlic a little before I throw it in there. Because if I throw it in there now, it's going to kind of stew it. I don't want my garlic to be stewed. I want it to be roasted. So I'm going to go ahead and heat that up. Thank you, by the way. And I'm going to get it out of this lovely shell. I'm sure most of you have seen people do that, but it works absolutely beautifully. All the what is this stuff called? All the shell off. Is it a shell? Yeah. So I'm going to use, again, my husband doesn't think he likes garlic, but we don't always do what he likes. So I'm going to add 3. 3 should be good. Okay. And again, I'm just going to give it kind of a rough chop because it's all going to be blended up. Ooh, forgot my neighbor Tom sharpened this knife for me, and wow, it works great now. Who knew? I've been using that knife, so I didn't know. I haven't used it since he sharpened it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and roast this a little bit. Whoops. And I think what I'm gonna do is add a little bit of salt to this and a little bit of oil, just to give it the full flavor. So at this point, my sauce is boiling. I'm gonna turn it way down. I don't want it to boil. I want it just to simmer and go really slow. So at this point, I want everything to be soft. I won't use my blender until everything is soft in here. So I'm not sure if we'll have time to if I'll have time to show you the immersion blender, but I might be able to. So with garlic, you gotta watch it because it will burn. So we're gonna just let that simmer here for a minute. Okay, so now I'm gonna add my roasted garlic. It's still sizzling. Gonna add all that, and then we're gonna blend this up. All my ingredients in here have softened. One thing I'm also gonna add that I do buy at Trader Joe's is tomato paste. Love to add tomato paste. I do have 2 here because I wasn't sure if I have enough, but I'm gonna determine that after I blend it. What am I looking for? This. Typically what I do to get this all out is this little trick. Let's put it on the other side, and then I just do the opposite side, if it goes correctly. Okay. And then it should, but look at, I don't waste any this way. Yeah, I actually use it all. Okay, so now we have that in there, and now we're gonna go ahead and we're going to use the immersion blender. Now be careful with this because typically, well, especially today, this is hot. So you don't wanna lift this. You wanna really keep it down into the pan as much as you can. So. And so the reason that it doesn't stay on all the time, you have to keep your finger on it, is for that very reason. If you lift it up while it's going, you will get burned. So you just want to be super careful. So at this point, I'll show you what this looks like first. It's pretty well blended. I'm probably going to blend it a little bit more at another time, later today or whatever, or maybe in a few minutes. But this is what it's looking like, pretty chunky. Again, my husband doesn't like chunky pasta sauce, so I typically will make it smooth, which if you like it chunky, then you're good.
Couldn't you put your chicken on a bed of your fresh pasta and use that as a sauce?
Yeah, that's a really good idea. Mm-hmm. Connie, sounds amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this for now, but I just wanted to show you a couple things that maybe you haven't seen before. I have Parmesan cheese that I like to use. This one doesn't have a huge rind. It's got one right here, but I did save a rind from another Parmesan that I used. And after I have it blended, I put in this to sit in my sauce, and I also put a carrot in. It just adds a flavor, and before I blend it, I'd obviously take these 2 things out. So I'm not gonna add them right now because I think I'm gonna go ahead and blend it a little bit more. But yeah, so add these 2 things, you won't be disappointed. Again, you could add 2 or 3 of these, doesn't matter. So thank you so much for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Kelly, for sitting in. Another episode, Kelly will join us with her wonderful cheesecake she's going to make for everybody. So thank you so much. See you next time.